Every year before the time to plant begins and my vacation starts from work, I bust out as much in the garden as I possibly can. So that one, I can enjoy my vacation and just be in the garden and plant the things that need to be planted calmly. So today we are starting that busting of the butt. So right now I'm going to start filling in the bottom of the raised beds so that then I can put all of the dirt in them because that would be a lot of dirt. And I was going to want to haul that much dirt. The wood will eventually be dirt. So that's how it's going to go, y'all. So what we are doing, as I spin around in a circle for no bloody reason, is layering that very bottom layer with a row of firewood we have never used. It has been here. We have not had time to sit at our fire pit and just enjoy things because life is life and that's what happens. So that entire bottom will be firewood that we have not used. And if I have room, I'll put a few sticks and stuff in there. And then I'm going to put my own soil mix on top of it, which is a third peat moss, a third compost, and a third topsoil. That will all go on the top, and then it will start to set and do its thing until it is time to actually put the plants I already have in these beds. These beds I plan on having to be the annual flowers I'm growing this year because they're annuals and I have to replant them every year. So I would rather them be raised up. And this is my trial for raised beds. Before I invest a whole boatload of money, I want to try them out first and see if they're worth it. See if I can make things survive in them. Because I'm very used to in-ground gardening, so I don't know how this is going to go. But we shall see in the trial year of Brennan Leigh and the chaos. All right, let's get started and stop gabbing. But first, we move the majority of the crap out of our way. All right, now we're going to get going for real.
Do you see him? Because I totally didn't see him. Not one little bit of me saw that little dude until right there when I made him very, 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 very angry. And then I moved him to safety. This is one of the many reasons that I wear real shoes while gardening. I know it was a gardener snake and that he is not poisonous. However, being bit by one is still probably not fun. I've yet to be bitten by a snake because I wear appropriate shoes when I garden. And yeah, the spiders and the snakes, I'm not about that life. In both of these raised beds, I'm going to fill up the base with as much firewood as I possibly can. And I know it's just basically wood, it's not real firewood because it hasn't been put into a fire yet. But that was the intention of the wood that I'm using, which never actually happened. And this is going to take, oh, I think it took probably 45 minutes to an hour to get all of the wood in there and maneuvered appropriately to just make it lay down a bit flatter so it wasn't all wonky and weird when I go to put in the peat moss at the base, which is what I did here in a second. Alright, we're going to flip to this other angle so you can see that I am actually laying it down pretty flat, trying to get the ends to match up as best I can and to get everything to fill all the holes.
Oh, that's super dark. That's not helpful. Let's go somewhere where there's light. Oh, look, sunshine. So I've got the base of the bed filled up, and I ticked off a garter stake, and I will pop his cute little picture up. He was not very cute when I threw him into the grass because he was not very happy with me. He kept going, wow, wow, with his cute little tiny mouth. So he is now safely away from all the animals and out in the grass, probably headed toward the pond. Um, but now, by the time I get the tractor supply, they will be open and I can get the rest of the dirt and compost that I need to fill the rest of these beds. And that will be one more thing, bloody well accomplished. So let's move on. Whew, get down here. It is now part 2 of filling the raised bed. I have my peat moss, I have my topsoil, I have my manure stuff, all the poopies, and I'm gonna try to like dump it in and then mix it. Because doing this bucket per bucket would just be a lot. We'll see how that goes and then adjust for the next bed.
It is that time in the video where I ask y'all if you've ever filled a raised garden bed. I think this one is 15 inches. It's a Birdies raised bed. And I'd watched a whole bunch of videos about raised beds, and all these people were having like these 17 or 32-inch raised beds. And they're all like, I'm 6'5". I'm 6 foot this. I'm like, I'm not a giant. I am actually an elf, and I am 5'3". And I need to be able to reach all the things that grow in the raised beds. So when I called or chatted, G chatted, whatever, the little chat thing that pops up on the website, I was like, I'm short. What size bed do I need? They suggested this one. Yes, I do still have to bend over, but when things start to grow, I shouldn't have to. Planting, I'm fine. I am fine bending over planting. It's all good. And it's really not even that difficult at the age I'm at now. I'm not that old. Um, However, getting it filled was a pain in the tuchus, y'all. It was a lot of peat moss and a lot of dirt and a lot of mixing. This was not for the faint of heart. And it still cost quite a bit of money to get all of this filled in. Granted, the wood was free if you don't include how much I paid for my house, and that's where the wood came from. So technically, I did pay for it. But I digress. I think I spent, I'd say, around $100, and I'm still gonna have to amend everything and put in all the goods and wonderful things that all the plants want once I plant them, which happens here in a few weeks, and I will get that video out as soon as it's done. It was stupid cold this day, y'all. And moving on to the second bed, where we do yet again the same thing, except I do it a little bit differently because I'm so tired by this point. I just don't want to lift anything else anymore. And then I have my husband help me because my back is done. But if you guys like these types of videos, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. If you could just share any thoughts that you have or anything that you love about gardening down in the comments. Or if you could subscribe, that would be fabulous. You don't have to, but I would really appreciate it. We finally hit 100 subscribers, which makes me so freaking stoked. I can't even explain it. Thank you all so much for sticking around, and we're about to get to the end of this video where we do get the things accomplished.
My conclusion on raised beds, they're for rich people. That was an insane amount of dirt, even with the wood that I put in there, and even making the mix myself. So my future self is just going to have to get in better shape. That's all there is. I'm always going to have to be able to bend over and pull shit out of the ground because that was a lot of shiznizzle. And I'm not building a 3,000 square foot garden out of that. I've got free dirt everywhere, free nutrients everywhere. Yeah. The Birdies raised beds, yeah, they're cool beds. I like them. They're pretty, they're sturdy. So far, so good, easy to put together. I'm just not a millionaire, so filling them is no bueno. All right, it's on to the roses, y'all.